Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Bozard Ford studio for the St. Johns County show that's on in the morning. We have a guest in studio today. St. Johns County Tax Collector Jennifer Ravan is with us, and we have updates for you today on the county administrator that had her contract extended after a rowdy county commission meeting, and what's new with the e-bike ordinance. Maybe we'll get to it. Maybe we won't have time. We'll get to all that and more, but first, we will thank Bozard Ford. Since 1949, Bozard Ford Lincoln has been more than just a dealership. It's a local legacy built on trust, family values, and commitment to doing things the right way. Proudly serving St. Augustine and beyond for over 75 years, Bozard offers award-winning service, unbeatable selection, and state-of-the-art facility with 91 climate-controlled service bays, a quick lane for no appointment-needed maintenance, and even Ford's Garage restaurant right there on site. Get yourself a Jiffy Burger. Recognized with the Triple Crown Award and President's Awards, Bozard Ford Lincoln is where hometown service meets national excellence. Great pricing, friendly faces, and a better buying experience are just off I-95 and State Road 16. Bozard Ford Lincoln, they are driven to inspire. Also a big shout out to Fidus Roofing, Old Town Trolley, Ben 39 Wine Bar, BNS Signs, Chiba Hut Toasted Subs, St. Augie's Pizza, Chris Lucero Bail Bonds, and St. Augustine Handy Houses. Support all of our wonderful sponsors and support us with your likes, comments, and shares. Find us on YouTube and help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. You can also find us on Rumble, so go find us there as well. Like, comment, all the things. You can help Troy get that new lint roller for his hat collection by sending those Facebook stars. We really appreciate those. Don't forget that our app is always getting more amazing. I hope you had those fiery meetings up there on the app yesterday. You can find it in the Apple App Store. All right. Good morning, everybody.
Hey, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Good morning.
Happy Hump Day. It's good to have you here, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Blake, how you doing today?
I'm doing hold on a second.
You're here.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
we got you. We got you.
All right.
I don't know if they hear you, but we hear you.
I accidentally muted myself on my end, so now everyone can hear me. So
We got you.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Blake's allergies are killing him. You can see his little red nose.
It's okay. The allergies are bad with rain, though. I would think the rain would wash it away.
I'm a little wimp.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wind.
No, he said he's a wimp.
Oh, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Never give me the benefit of the doubt. I'm always the weakest person you can think of.
Always keep him guessing. We can fix that.
Yeah.
No.
We can help you.
No. I'm a lost cause.
You like the soft underbelly, Blake?
My body's just like one Achilles heel.
You're the youngest one in the building. We got to work on your optimism, buddy.
Optimism.
It's funny because I talk about my pig farm immunity. Everyone in the house will get sick.
But you?
I know I don't get sick.
Well, that's why, that going way back to like why the Native Americans got sick when the European travelers came here, is that European travelers were agricultural animal adjacent. So they were always around livestock. So they're getting sick from those animals, but the Native Americans weren't cultivating livestock, and so they didn't have that same immunity. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, so it was all the animals that took them out. So my pig farm immunity is a real thing.
It is a real thing,
Okay. All right.
proven out by history. Right. That is legit.
Because I never got that. Like, we can't say the word, but I never got that.
Oh, the thing.
It throws up the algorithm, so we can't. We actually can't say it.
That 5-year-old thing that happened. That we're not allowed to talk about. We love Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah. Try us on Trends.
Threads.
See, I even said it wrong. I didn't get it right. I'm such a boomer. So,
do we have a question of the day?
All right, question of the day. The question of the day is, if you play a game at your family, what's your favorite go-to family game?
Oh, family game night games. So we have two in our family that we like to play a lot. One is Pit, which I find people don't know. Mm-hmm. It's like a stock trading, commodity trading game, and it's a card game. And so they all get jumbled up, and so you just get a hand of all jumbled up cards, and you're just blindly trading. So it gets wild because all you're doing is like, I got two, I got two, I got three, I got three. And you're just blindly trading across the table, and you're trying to get all of the matching set of your commodity. And then you hit the bell, and then you get those points. It's first 1 to 500. Mm-hmm. And you can add the bull and the bear cards to make the game even more spicy. We don't usually do that because people can cry. We've got young kids. So we don't have to pull in the bear
It's good for him.
cards.
It's good for him.
So we'll play that one. And then we'll play Clue if we want a more calm game night. We'll play Clue.
Clue.
Yeah. But all the girls want to be
Professor
Scarlet.
Plum.
All the girls want to be Scarlet. And so it's like whoever suggests it gets to call it before anybody else.
Yeah, no one wants to be Mrs. White.
No, they always make me be Mrs. White. And they joke because I'm the pale one in the family. So they're like, perfect. Rude.
You are the whitest.
I am the whitest in my family.
I'm by far the whitest in my household. Too.
Yeah,
I feel that pain.
I know.
Especially
the only
when
one that needs sunscreen.
Yeah, especially when I go in the sun. It's 100%.
Yeah, and nobody remembers to pack it because you're the only one that needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. The only one to get burnt. What games do you play in your family?
Jennifer, what's your go-to game?
So one of our favorite card games is Rummy, of course. I just remember playing that with my grandmothers, when we go over to their house. So all of us knew how to play it, and we always had a blast playing that.
That's awesome.
And then one that we'll always pack and take with us is the Yahtzee game. But we also have like a little electronic handheld Yahtzee for home because we love it so much. So, we're constantly playing Yahtzee. Yeah. Of course, now there's games on the iPhone also that we challenge each other on.
Yeah.
But the classic games are Rummy and Yahtzee.
Yeah. If we're stuck in an airport, we'll play that Heads Up app game. Have you ever played that? It'll keep the kids occupied in a more quiet way in the middle of an airport. It's the most fun for layovers.
That is fun.
Blake, what do you like to play?
I definitely would like to say Uno is it's definitely one of my favorite games to play as a family, but we haven't been playing it as a while. But I know in our house we've been playing the bingo.
Yeah, family bingo seems to be the go-to, and Maeve's the caller, and Rebecca always wins, and Maeve kind of sneak in different because it's like animals, and then it's like letters. There's 4 different ways to play.
Okay.
So it's like animals, and then the numbers, but Maeve is the caller. She'll be like looking at her mom's card and go, giraffe.
That's not legit. Come on, Maeve.
You ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Well, she can't help her mom in Uno, so that's why she wants to play bingo. Do you guys play so what Uno rules do you play? Because that's controversial. Uno came out and said you're not allowed to put a draw 2 on a draw 2.
You're always allowed to put a draw 2 on a draw 2.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can draw
This
2.
is propaganda.
You can draw 2, a draw 2 to a draw 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And then, it's,
That's how you teach life lessons.
That's right.
yeah.
You get that kid that's so excited and calls Uno, and you just know dad has like a hand of just sadness that he's about to lay down.
He's just going to crush your
And it's
soul.
always the dad. Yeah. It's always the dad that does it too. My husband is relentless with Uno. That's why we don't play it as much. It hurts feelings.
People cry.
Yeah.
There will be tears. There's always tears on game night.
Yeah.
I mean, really, there should be.
We played Uno with another family, and I saw the twinkle in that dad's eye when it was just him and Gavin down to the wire. And I was like, oh no. He's gonna hurt my kid. He did. Gavin
Feelings were hurt.
An important, humbling lesson that day.
Yeah, and I played a lot of Scrabble with my grandparents growing up in Canasta. So, I mean, Scrabble, like I have dyslexia really bad.
Yeah.
But I can spell pretty good, and I think it's because of how much Scrabble I played when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So, but my dyslexia is not like with letters getting jumbled up. My dyslexia is leaving words out. Like my brain gets going too far ahead.
Yeah.
And even if I'm reading 2 words ahead, and I have to slow down.
Yeah.
That's why I hate doing the reads.
My family played a lot of Scrabble, but only the adults were allowed to play because it was very intense.
Got serious.
It was a very intense game.
Because there was tears.
Yeah.
There were tears even with the adults.
Again, life lessons.
Yeah.
So we played a lot of Scrabble, and then when Words with Friends hit the iPhones, once we had iPhones, we would play Words with Friends. Now, I would whoop my husband's booty with Scrabble, but he'll destroy me on Words with Friends. And I think it's just because you have that option of being able to like just fiddle around with letters,
right,
to see if it's a word,
right,
and you don't have that option with Scrabble.
Yes.
And so in the practical world, I can win, but in digital space, he'll beat me on Words with Friends almost every time. It's terrible. Now it's time for a quick check of the weather.
Moist.
A quick check of the weather is brought to you by Bin 39. Discover one of St. Augustine's best kept secrets, Bin 39, tucked inside St. George Inn at the north end of St. George Street. With over 95 boutique wines, 50 of them rated 90 points or higher by Robert Parker, it's the perfect spot for a romantic date night or a relaxing after-work unwind. Sit by the glass or the bottle in a serene courtyard setting and enjoy live music Thursday through Sunday. We're almost there. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Just stop by and say, I'll have what Irving's having. Bin 39, your taste to discover. All right, Blakes, it's time for the Hit the Blakes traffic report.
Traffic.
Be careful out there.
Yeah, it's very moist out there today.
It's moist and slippery.
Yeah, it definitely is very wet out there. So please make sure that you are very safe out there on the roads. We had the Bridge Alliance cam and the A1A cam out there today. So and the roads are still very damp. So please be careful.
Yeah, it's going to be that way on and off all day. It's going to clear up. It's going to rain. Clear up. It's rain. Clear up. Rain. Yeah.
That tree was down on I-95.
Yeah.
That was wild. Yeah, it's a big old tree down.
Well, that storm came in pretty intense there. It was pretty intense yesterday.
So. My daughter wanted to hang out after work downtown, and I was like, nah, you're going to park, and it's just bottom's going to fall out on you. Mm-hmm. Speaking of downtown, Old Town Trolley is amazing. Climb aboard the Old Town Trolley and experience over 500 years of history in the heart of St. Augustine. This fully narrated 90-minute tour features 22 convenient stops and covers more than 100 points of interest, including iconic landmarks like the Castillo de San Marcos, the Fountain of Youth, and Flagler's Historic Hotel. With open-air views and all-day hop-on, hop-off access, it's the most fun and flexible way to explore the nation's oldest city. Your ticket also includes free admission to St. Augustine's History Museum, and the local St. Johns County residents ride free with a full fare guest through the Hometown Pass program. That's hometownpass.com. Old Town Trolley, the best way to see St. Augustine, one stop at a time. All right, we've got an update for you. St. Johns County commissioners vote to extend county administrator's contract despite strong objections from one member. Tensions flared once again between St. Johns County Administrator Joy Andrews and Commissioner Krista Joseph during Tuesday's Board of County Commissioners meeting, this time over whether to extend Andrews' contract. Despite the debate, commissioners voted 3-2 to extend Andrews' contract 3 more years through 2030. The conversation was sparked after it was revealed Andrews applied for a similar position in Palm Beach County, a move that concerned Commissioner Christian Whitehurst, who placed the item on the agenda. Andrews told the board she later withdrew her application and wants to remain in St. Johns County. Regardless of the differences of opinion, I'm here to stay, Andrews said, citing her commitment to the county staff, her family, and the community. Whitehurst initially suggested a 6-year extension to promote stability, but the board ultimately settled on a 3-year deal. Commissioner Chair Krista Josephs and Commissioner Ann Taylor voted against the extension. Joseph argued that performance should take priority over stability, citing unresolved issues with the county's trash hauler, hurricane readiness, comprehensive plan, tree code, and development in World Golf Village. Maybe in September, when these things are finished, I'd be all for talking about this, Joseph said. Joseph previously called for a vote of no confidence on Andrews back in January, criticizing her leadership on solid waste service rollout and other key county issues. Meanwhile, multiple residents and commissioners spoke in support of Andrews, praising her commitment to the community, accessibility, and track record of delivering projects like the Hastings Community Center Library. Andrews, who has served the county for nearly 20 years, was hired as administrator in 2023 with a salary of around $300,000. All right.
So I was there. Okay. I wasn't planning on talking, but I ended up talking.
All right.
And it was the morning was a huge support, a lot of turnout for Joy, and I've known Joy, and when I got up and spoke, I was kind of sitting there, and I was like, all right, the 3 of the 4 people that are sitting in the administration seats, I was there the very first day they started work.
Yeah.
One of them I hired. So, I mean, so I have, a lot of attachment to him. And I was realizing, I mean, these 3 of these 4, Brad came along later, and Brad's a super nice guy, but I don't have the same relationship I have with the other 3. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, these guys have grown and they love St. Johns County.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And the person that's being so critical, I don't feel that same love for St. Johns County.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where it's like, I know these three love it, and they're working as a team.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the board up there, and they're not working as a team. Yeah. There's 5 of them. They got to figure that out. This is a $1.7 billion company.
Yeah.
That they're running. And for it to be successful, they need to work as a team, and they got to figure that out. And
they really do.
It's kind of rough to do the way they're doing it. Is it's 2-2, and then Clay's got to be the tiebreaker every single time. That's a lot of pressure on the person.
That's so much pressure.
That's a lot of pressure on the person. So
keep Clay in your prayers.
I'm encouraged by the support that St. Johns County gave to Joy. But there's still some work to be done. Yeah. At the board level, and I hope they figure it out. So.
You called for everyone to be nice yesterday. Did you see niceness?
Yeah, I called for them to be nice, and even after I called for them to be nice, there was still some personal anger that flew out, and when it came to agenda item 2, because I spoke during the general public comment, but I stayed for agenda item 2, and it's still got very personal, and it needs to be professional and not personal.
Yeah, so, yeah, I agree.
So, but that's my thoughts of yesterday. But I'm happy. I hope the negotiations go well. It's not over. I mean, they still have to negotiate what's in that contract. They just kind of put a time limit and said, this is what we want. There's still negotiations and some of the other things that have to take place in this process.
It would be nice if they would all get their emotions in check and just have a reasonable discussion about everything. And we've got an extension. We know that's happening. So now let's just be reasonable about shoring up those details so we can move forward doing the work of the county.
Yeah. I mean, I played team sports all my life. You didn't always like all your teammates.
Yeah.
But you know what? When it came time to play the game, they were your teammates.
Yeah.
Somebody throws at them, you're going to fight the other team.
Yeah.
And it's they need to figure out that mentality.
That's why there's a word for friends and there's a word for teammates.
Yeah, exactly. That's why there's two separate.
Not necessarily the same thing, and that's okay.
And I say that jokingly, but it is one of my old teammates, and I'm my high school baseball team. My phone's blowing up over here. It's Eddie's birthday, so Eddie, happy birthday! The 9th best shortstop in Stetson history.
Happy birthday, Eddie!
So
9th best. That ain't bad.
9th best. Well, that's the title he gave himself.
All right.
So. Because I thought he was 10th.
I love humility.
I thought he was 10th.
Wow. What were you?
I played a Flagler.
What was that?
I played
the second or third recruit?
I was actually the first recruit. Even though they say I was the second at Flagler for Dave Barnett. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was the first recruit that made it through an entire year for sure.
Oh. All right. A little salty.
No, the other guy that he said didn't. You got to go to class.
What? No way.
Even ball players got to go to class.
You at least have to show up.
Yeah, you got to show up. You got to somewhat stay conscious.
Your people.
Yeah, you got to stay conscious.
All right. We do have an amazing guest.
We have an amazing guest, and I'm so grateful that she came in.
Me too.
On a rainy day.
On a rainy day.
Yeah, no less. Jennifer Ravan, St. Johns County tax collector. Welcome to our studio.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Of course.
So Jennifer, you've been with the county a couple weeks now. It's like something. How many years?
Just a hot minute. I've been with the tax collector's office for 31 years.
Wow.
Since 1994. In 2008, I became Dennis Hollingsworth's assistant tax collector, and then in January, I took office as the tax collector.
Yeah,
awesome.
So and you obviously had your eye on what was going on because you're close with the county. You get your budget from the Board of County Commissioners. The question I had for you, like driving in today, I was like, you're an elected official.
Correct.
All right. Joy's appointed by the 5 board members. Which do you think is easier? I mean, yesterday it seemed like it was an easy answer. but every 4 years you still have to fight for your position too. Mm-hmm. So what do you think? And you ran unopposed.
I did. I was very blessed that I ran unopposed. Yeah. Yes.
But there was no one else for the job. You were the right person for the job.
Thank you.
You know, so.
Yeah. I feel like if you do the job well and you prove that to the citizens of St. Johns County, then, you know, they're going to have trust in you. So I feel like that may be a little bit easier than a small group of people.
And you had an amazing mentor boss.
I did.
And so can you tell us a little bit about Dennis and what you learned? I mean, you were there with him for 31 years. So what is some of the life lessons and the boss, now you're the boss, lessons you learned from Dennis that you think make you a better person and a better boss?
So the first thing that I would like to say is our budget is approved by the Department of Revenue. So Florida Department of Revenue. So it's not approved by the Board of County Commissioners. And that was a big deal to Dennis, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Turns out that's amazing.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yes.
Prognosticator.
But, you know, I worked in every department of the tax collector's office, so he was a wonderful mentor. I feel like he was very innovative, and now we need to catch up with the growth in St. Johns County. We have fallen behind there, but as far as the operation of the tax collector's office, I mean, it's innovation, it's integrity, it's expertise. So when you come in, we want you to be served efficiently. And the ultimate goal, of course, is whatever window you come up to, that customer service representative is going to be able to do whatever you need done. Mm-hmm. So that's the efficiency of the office, and just always learning. And then any way we can be innovative, we want to do that.
Well, you proved that to me just a couple weeks ago. I went in there to register the trucks.
Right.
And we were able to figure out that the Beast, or 904 truck, is an antique.
Yes.
It is an antique.
So it ended up saving me like
$225.
Yeah, $225.
Yes.
So it was awesome.
I said, I have good news for you.
So
you like good news.
She came over and gave me the great news on her note. So it was really, really wonderful. But
so you're why we get paid then.
Yeah, you got paid this week.
Yeah.
Was it $225?
Exactly. Yeah, pretty close.
Very close.
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
What's one of the biggest obstacles you face, because you've now been in the position 6 months? Mm-hmm. What's one of the biggest obstacles you faced with the transition of your position?
So the transition was just thankfully so smooth, because I had been there so long, and Dennis just put me in wonderful positions to be ready for this. Mm-hmm. However, it's the growth in St. Johns County. We are growing, and our tax collector offices have not. Mm-hmm. So we are, our waits now are unheard of for St. Johns County. Mm-hmm. And you're coming in, it may be an hour and a half. And we are really working to improve that wait time. Mm-hmm. So if you come in, we're trying to renovate some of our offices to make better use of the space. We're trying to hire some more employees, which again, we're approved through Department of Revenue. So we have to have the number of employees that we can hire approved through the Department of Revenue. Mm-hmm. Wow. But we're working on that through our budget. Mm-hmm. And then we're also looking to expand to a couple new locations just to alleviate some of the offices that are the busiest, and so they'll have another option to go to.
How many different offices do you have in the county?
We have 4. Okay. So we have our main office location at 4030 Lewis Speedway. We have an office location in Ponte Vedra. We have an office location in Julington Creek, and then DuPont Center down at 206, right behind the library.
Okay.
The offices, the satellite offices, because I'm assuming this one's much bigger, and you have over here you have 16 windows or something like that. How many windows would you have at those alternate offices down there?
We would try. So on average, we have about 10. Julington Creek is our second biggest office. We have 14 windows there. Okay. A lot of people don't realize that we also serve 5 executive branches of state government. So we are a state agency as well. So although we collect property taxes and business tax receipts and tourist development on the local level, we serve these state agencies. And so as agents of those, we serve Duval County residents, Putnam County residents. So, you can come into our offices and cross the state line and come in. And that does add to our wait times. So a lot of people will say, oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah. But, we're here to serve.
Yeah. All right. So I sit on the TDC board, and I have this question because I still think there's a disconnect between the Airbnb companies, like Airbnb and VRBO and those companies. They have a button on their thing where it says, oh, we'll collect it for you. But you actually have to ask for it back at our tax collectors. And we're one of like 4 or 5 counties that don't accept it from Airbnb
Correct.
and from VRBO.
Right.
It's up to the individual to pay you. What was the reason why you didn't accept it from Airbnb and VRBO?
Sure.
What was that reasoning? Because I know we're a little different than some other counties that do.
Absolutely. So we do not have an agreement with Airbnb or VRBO. Like you said, the taxpayer pays the tax collector directly. If we had an agreement with Airbnb, they just send us a check. And we don't have any way to enforce if everyone is paying as they should. So currently, we do use a third party that goes out and looks for stays. And so we can verify if they're actually renting or not renting. And if they have an account, that's great. And they're, remitting their monthly fee and tax. But Airbnb would just send us a check. So if you're paying and you're doing as you're supposed to do, and your neighbor's not, but they're renting out, we don't have a way to know what that address is, what their stays were, how much they owe. So it's really just to enforce and make sure that we're collecting the money that we need to collect.
Well, I can tell you, they make it seem like they're paying it when you first, and until I kind of delved into it, I had to go back and ask for that money back from them, and then because I owed back. It was really bad. I was sitting on the tourist development board at the time, and I owed back taxes on my collection of the TDT tax, and so I mean, is there a way that we can kind of get them to stop? Because I know there was some type of lawsuit with Airbnb and
with several counties,
with several different counties.
Yeah.
The way you do it seems the most legal way, but I think there's a deception between those two. And I don't think we're collecting what we should be collecting in that sense because of their deception, not because of yours. So I'm just wondering if do you think there's anything we can do?
We do try to spread the message that, because it's a question we get asked every day by people that do rent and have a tourist development account. And we do get asked, hey, I paid it through Airbnb. So we do explain to them that we do not have an agreement with them. They do not remit funds to us. And we explain why. So we try to get the message out. We try to insert, flyers into some different things that we send out to let them know that it just needs to be paid directly to the tax collector's office. I think that it would be easy because Airbnb does advertise and they do have those buttons out there. Hey, we will collect for you. But when we're not allowing them to remit it to us, then we're not receiving the money, and ultimately it does fall on the taxpayer.
And I'll tell you this, when I knew to ask for it back, they just, it's like,
good.
You caught us.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of like, you caught us.
Right.
We're just getting interest on your money.
They're just over there making money, knowing that they're not paying.
Absolutely.
These counties. I mean, they're holding on to that money. And if you don't ask for it, they keep it.
It really feels like they need to disclose that.
Yeah.
Because that is shady.
Yeah. No, I thought it was super shady.
It is.
So, and like I said, I was in the know. At least I thought I was.
Yeah, but they still got you.
I evidently wasn't. But I had to ask for it back. And if you don't ask for it back, you don't get it.
Yeah.
So I don't have Airbnbs anymore.
Yeah.
I'm all I went with the long-term stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Airbnbs feel like a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a little work. Of the taxes you collect, I mean, you also do driver's license, you do a lot of different things. which one is the most challenging for your office? It's like, oh, it's that's the one I got to balance, because you have so many things you have to balance, so many different taxes, so many different things that you do at your office. What's one of the most challenging things that you do at your office on a daily basis? If I'm sitting at the counter, I'm hired by you.
Right. Right. So everything is driven by statute. Everything we do is, driven by statute, and that's how we operate. However, I would say probably driver's license and vehicle registrations and titles, because it changes all the time. Okay. They're constantly updating the procedures. The legislature will change laws, every year. Mm-hmm. And so just keeping up with what's current and what changed and what didn't change, and how we're supposed to issue this kind of license versus this kind of license, I would say that's the most challenging for us.
Okay. We do have a question in the audience. Bobby Giles wants to know, how did DMV come under the tax collector? When he moved here in 96, it was in a separate building, and now it's together.
So in 1998, we've always done titles and registration. So we've always been an agent of FLHSMV for that. In 1998, St. Johns County tax collector was one of the first offices to take over driver license services. Okay. And the state was looking to expand and more efficiently serve these customers. Mm-hmm. So in 1998, actually, when we moved out to this building, mm-hmm. We took over driver's license that year, and slowly other tax collectors' offices came on board. And now there's only like one state office that does driver's license. Tax collectors now do driver's license services.
Yeah, that used to be awful.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know it. It's right. It's still right there. The building's still there.
The old FEC building.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still right there. It's right near the railroad as you're going back into town on US 1. It's that building where you're like, I wonder what's in there. Yeah. That's what it was. That's what it was. So, and it was a small little building, and you just kind of sat in there, and a lot of times you had to sit outside because there wasn't enough room in there, and it was.
So I brag on how amazing our DMV is.
Thank you.
Because the DMV, it's kind of a joke across, the world that it's a terrible place to be. Like, it makes movies and comic strips. I mean, it's a stereotype for a reason. But when I had to come to the DMV in St. Johns County when I first moved here in 2004, I couldn't believe it. It was so efficient. It was comfortable. Mm-hmm. So, and it's always stayed that way, even with growth. I've never had a problem or a long wait. I've never had anyone treat me badly there, which is also the stereotype of DMV.
Yes.
So,
it's like the soup, like the soup Nazi.
Yes. Yes.
All right. One thing I noticed last time I was there, and it was just a couple weeks ago, what I was talking about. You used to only have chairs over here. Now you have chairs there and in where the cafe was.
Right.
And is that just part of the growth of St. Johns County that you've had to do that?
It is partly. The cafe left the building, and mm-hmm. we haven't found another one. So when that space became available, we realized, hey, we could put some chairs over here too to make people more comfortable. But you're right, the chairs are filling up, whereas that wasn't even an issue before. Mm-hmm. Now both chairs are filling up. So, but that's why we put them over there. Just the space was available and to accommodate the customers.
And actually, I do have a question about DMV myself, because I know last month the real ID deadline was in effect on May 7th.
Right.
So how busy was the DMV like the days leading up to it, and that day when the deadline was about to happen?
Sure. So we did become busier because everyone was rushing down to get that gold star on their license to become Real ID compliant. But don't fret. If you are not Real ID compliant, you're still legal to drive. Mm-hmm. It's to fly and to enter federal buildings. Yeah. So if you're going to fly and you don't have the Real ID star on your license, you will have to go through some extra security measures at the airport. Have a passport, have a birth certificate. But yes, we did become a little more busy because everybody was coming down there to meet that deadline.
Yeah. That extended deadline.
Yes, for years.
All this talking about driving, I think we should slide into the Gas Buddy Gas Report.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Because I have a couple more questions.
Tell us in the comments what gas prices are looking like around you. We've got Sunoco on North Ponce de Leon at $2.84, Shell on King Street at $2.87, Shell at North Ponce de Leon Boulevard at 289. Owen South Ponce is at 289. Mobile and Circle K at South Ponce is also 289. And so is Shell at 216 Ponce de Leon Boulevard. We've got Sunoco at South Ponce, 289. Gate at Mizell Road, 293. Gate at US 1 North, 294. Circle K at 207. Tops us out at 296. That Gas Buddy Gas Report is brought to you by Chris Lucero Bail Bonds. Trouble with the law? Call the name St. Augustine has trusted for years. Chris Lucero Bail Bonds, available 24/7. Their experienced and compassionate team works fast to get you or your loved one out of jail and back home. From paperwork to release, they make the process simple, discreet, and stress-free. No judgment, just help when you need it most. When the time counts, remember the name and the number. Chris Lucero Bail Bonds at 904-822-BAIL. That's 904-822-2245. We've got live music today if it doesn't get rained out. We've got Jim Lamb at Milltop Tavern at noon. Smoke and Joe Shower at Trade Winds Lounge, 1 o'clock. Joshua Tennessee Worthy at Pierre's Pub, also 1 o'clock. Music and Art by the Sea 2025, St. Johns County Ocean Pier, 3 p.m. Jim Johnston's at Catch 27, 5 o'clock. Vinny Jacobs is also 5 o'clock at Guy Harvey Resort. Ivan Smith at Tide's Oyster Company and Grill, also 5 o'clock. Mark Hart is 5 o'clock happy hour as well. Trade Winds Lounge. Damon Slaughter at OC White, finishing up our 5 o'clock hour. We've got Jazzy Blue Band, Funkadelic Food Shack, 5:30. Bare Naked Ladies at the Amp, 6 p.m. Straight Up Band at St. Johns County Ocean Pier, 7 p.m. Jolie at Cortesi's Bistro, also 7. Anthony Gomes at Cafe 11, 8 p.m. Greg Johnson's at Taps Bar and Grill, also 8 p.m. That music report is brought to you by Fidus Roofing. When it comes to protecting your home, trust the local experts at Fidus Roofing and Construction, voted best of St. Augustine every year since 2012. Whether it's emergency repairs or full roof replacements, Fidus delivers expert shingle and metal installations using top-tier materials like the GAF Lifetime Roofing System, all backed by strong warranties and GAF Master Elite certification. And this summer, Fidus is proud to support the Big Summer Fun Scramble on Friday, June 27th at the Golf Club at Southampton, benefiting Big Brothers, Big Sisters of St. Johns County. Tee off for a great cause with breakfast, lunch, raffles, contests, and more. Sign up today at bbbsgolftournament.com. Fidus Roofing, 904-355-ROOF.
I do pavers.
And gutters. Yeah.
He did it. All right, we paid the bills, so we can get back to our wonderful guest and interview.
Yeah. So, Jennifer, you say you have 4 different locations. What does your staff look like, and what does your normal annual budget look like?
Our annual budget is about $8 million.
Okay.
And staffing, we're at 78 full-time employees right now, but we're looking to increase that somewhat.
Yeah, to kind of help with the ease that hour and a half down to 45 minutes.
Yes. But we are running out of space, right? So we're running out of seats at each location. So that's why I'm looking to expand and open some new locations.
Excellent. What's one of the locations like? We have such a high population in the Northwest. Are you looking at like World Golf Village, which seems like it's now starting to really take off with Silverleaf? What are some of the areas that you feel you need to be closer to the people?
Our Julington Creek office is our second busiest office, so we're looking up in that area. Silverleaf, Julington Creek area, maybe a little closer to World Golf Village. We haven't quite found anything yet, but we are looking.
Okay. With the DRIs, in thinking of this, with the DRIs, development of regional impacts, a lot of times they have to come in and they have to give land for like fire stations and schools and parks. And how do you get your name on that list?
We work with the county, so we do prefer to go to a county location, right? So all of our locations are actually another county service center except for Ponte Vedra.
Okay.
But when they're looking to, we do try to stay away from like the fire stations and the sheriff's offices, only because we're going to have a lot of traffic coming in and out. And if they have to go to an emergency call, we don't we don't want to put that mixed together.
Yeah.
But the other offices, for example, we share some office space in Julington Creek and Ponte Vedra with the St. Johns County clerk so that they can offer services at those locations as well.
That makes sense.
Here at the main office, we have the property appraiser's office. Well, there's a whole campus of all of the elected officials here. And so we look for that to piggyback with whatever they might be building. We're like, hey, can you build us an office there as well? So that's what we're working on right now, is looking for where they're going in the future so that maybe we can go there as well.
And you started 31 years ago.
Right.
When they opened this office over here, we were like, we're never going to fill this.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Coming from downtown, which was such a wonderful place to work. I was born and raised here.
Yeah.
So it was so cool to go downtown to work. And coming out here, it was like, wow, this is a whole new world. And for sure, just never thought we'd see the traffic that we see now.
Because you were in the old Casa Monica building.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
That's wild.
Yes.
So crazy.
You weren't here when
I
Casa
wasn't
Monica
here at that
Yeah.
point, no. But my husband worked for Casa Monica, and so he told me about the stories about it being a government building, and it still kind of blew my mind because at that point it was the Casa Monica, right? And so, it's so crazy the how all of the buildings have been used and the evolution of what they've been used for over time.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was in the Taj Mahal, which is what it was called yesterday, like where the county administration building is, because it sits up on a hill, and it was
right. And when they built it, it was just so big.
It was so big. It was so big, and now it's completely not big enough.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're having to find other space everywhere, and then they built the other building. And now they're doing the permit building. You know, that was why'd you build that big building? And now it's completely full.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just wondered if you had that same feeling when you moved in from downtown to there, like, we'll never fill this.
Absolutely. We were like, we have plenty of space and plenty of room, and and we have definitely outgrown it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
So Dennis was the guy the whole time you were there.
He was tax collector for 40 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's been tax collector pretty much since I've been here.
Since 1985.
Yeah. So I got here in 87.
Right.
Do you see yourself being tax collector? I mean, not 40 years. But
Not 40 years,
But
yeah.
I mean, do you see yourself, I would love for this to be your last job.
Absolutely.
I don't see anyone else coming in. But how long, because you're a state employee, right?
I am, yes.
So you're in FRS.
Correct.
Okay, so
Correct, yes.
There's great incentive to be.
There is, yeah. No, definitely. I will retire, as the tax collector. So, but, I hope for, as long, like you said, it's an elected position.
Yes.
So, but I hope to be here several more years.
Yeah, I don't remember Dennis ever having somebody run against him.
Opposition. I think he had it one year, like the first year he ran, he had opposition.
Uh-huh.
And we were looking through some of those newspaper articles as I was gearing up to, qualify and all that good stuff. And it was so interesting. It really was how it was so different back then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, since then he never had opposition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and rightfully so.
Right.
You shouldn't either.
Thank you. Thank you.
Either. Any other questions out there in the?
I haven't seen any. There's a lot of reminiscing of where things were back in the day.
Yes, hey, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
It is kind of interesting. It's such a conservative county, and conservatives aren't known for being the most appreciative of taxes. And so to have such popular tax collectors in this county, or a history of popular tax collectors, I think it really speaks to the merit and the integrity of how the office is run.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. We do have a question from Bobby, though.
Awesome.
Another question from Bobby. His question is: can she explain giving back money at the end of the fiscal year from the tax department?
Sure. Absolutely. So the tax collector's office, their main function is to collect, invest, and distribute. Okay. So like I said, our budget is approved through the Department of Revenue. We are a fee office. We are self-sufficient. So we operate on fees and services that we collect. So we collect those fees through these services we offer. Like I was saying, we serve 5 executive branches of government. We collect property taxes, tangible taxes, business tax receipts, tourist development taxes. So we take what we collect and we invest that money. Okay. And then at the end of the year, or actually throughout the year, per statute, we have to distribute that money. We have 67 taxing authorities that we distribute money to. And so we take the money that we have earned and we distribute that back out to the taxing authorities. And the county is one of them and our biggest taxing authority.
All right, great question.
Yeah.
All right. When stuff hits, like, and one of the things that hit yesterday is them removing the 2.5 cents on commercial rental properties. Do you have somebody that just keeps an eye on that? Because things change constantly, and sometimes there's landlords. I bet there's landlords out today that are still charging like 6.5% on commercial, and it's changed 3 times since then. Sure. How do you kind of monitor that and make sure that that's all on the up and up?
Everybody's on the up and up. So with, let's go back to tourist development for a moment, right? We do use a third party company, and we go out and we look for new rentals and we make sure all of them have an account. So, when there's changes, and again, like your question earlier, what's the biggest challenge? It's keeping up with the changes and, all of the new legislation changed and statutes that are changed. So we just keep an eye on that for things that we do, So business tax receipts, for example, it's a flat fee. Tourist development is now 5%. It used to be 4% for the county and 6% out at the World Golf Village area. Now it's just a flat 5%. So anytime there's a change like that, we definitely regroup and see how we can best approach that. Okay. Yeah.
Anything we haven't touched on that you'd like to get out?
I would love to talk about 3 programs that we have talking about innovation, right? So we have certified car seat technicians that through our Project Buckle Up program that will install or make sure your car seat is in your vehicle properly for parents or caregivers. So a lot of new parents will come to us, grandparents will come to us, and we'll show them how to properly install that car seat so that the child's riding safely. We also offer driver education. We're the only tax collector's office in the state to have a driver education program. So we're actually a third-party driving school approved through FLHSMB. We go into every St. Johns County high school. There's 2 phases. Phase 1 is our learner's license. So you go in the morning before school and you take a class, and at the end of the class, it's for 2 weeks. You take your test. If you pass, you come in and just get your learner's license. So that saves you time in our office. And you also are educated through our curriculum. And then we have a phase 2 program, which is actually behind the wheel. So that is, we have a couple different ones. We have one that's only a track day where you go out to our track and you do maneuvers and you learn about what's under the hood and all that good stuff. And then we also have where we go into the high schools. The children meet us after school, at their school, and we take them on the road. So we do a track day for the first day, and then we go out on the road. We drive in neighborhoods. We drive downtown. We drive on interstates. And so that gives that student confidence. And at the end of that, we also give them their road test. So if they pass that, they just come in and get their license, which saves time. And then we also partner with the sheriff's office in the reentry program. And so they have a reentry program where they'll identify an individual who may be close to release, and they need an ID card. And, without an identification card, you can't do much. You can't open a bank account. You can't get a job. One of our big
things with Home Again. And our new property, that's one of the things we wanted to kind of...
That new property is so awesome.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Yes. But anyway, so if they identify this individual and they're eligible to get an identification card, what we did was we installed a camera over at the sheriff's office reentry center. So the person does not have to leave the jail. They just go into the specified area. We take their picture, we issue their ID card, and then the sheriff's office will run over and get it. So facilitates that person when they get out.
That's wonderful.
Awesome. Yeah.
I have a follow-up question on the driver's school. I'm homeschool parent.
Okay.
And I'm in the homeschool world in St. Johns County. So how would homeschool students access that that driver's education if they're not attached to a high school?
That is a great question. So we do accommodate that. What we ask you to do is pick a school, or, this program fills up so fast because the third-party driving schools that are out there are so expensive. Yeah. This is affordable. It's through your tax collector's office. So what we would do is, if you could come to a school that maybe isn't full, we'd ask, hey, can you meet us here and drop off and pick up your child here?
Okay.
We are also coming up with some ideas maybe to do something for homeschool children, maybe during the day.
Yeah.
Would private schools fall under that too, like a St. Joe, or do you have somebody at St. Joe?
No, we do not have anybody at St. Joe. It's all St. John's County high schools.
Similar with private schools. Yes. They'd have to go. Yes. They'd have to go to. Okay.
Right.
All right.
The program does fill up fast, but if we can accommodate somebody, we certainly try to.
Okay, awesome. So would they communicate with you directly to figure out logistically where they need to go?
So on our website, we do have a driver education page,
okay.
sjctax.us. Okay. And if you go to our driver education page, there's some contact information there. Our driver education director is wonderful, and she'll reach out and can, see if we have anything.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you for that.
You're
so
welcome.
Much. Sure.
And thank you for coming in. And
you're always
welcome.
Me.
Come back in and spend some time with us. It was, everybody had a lot of questions for you in there, and they were very nostalgic today with the whole courthouse.
I know. I'm very nostalgic also about it. Just watching the county grow like it has.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Troy, how do you want to check the comments?
On this Wednesday, I will work my way through the wickedly wonderful witticisms of the slowly waking watchers.
All right. That wickedly wonderful wander is brought to you by BNS Signs. Want your business to get noticed and stay that way? Turn to BNS Signs, proudly family-owned and serving St. Augustine for over 50 years. From bold vinyl lettering to towering pylon signs, they specialize in high-quality custom signage built to last. Their expert team handles everything: design, installation, crane service, repairs, and maintenance with fast, responsive service that keeps your sign looking sharp. Make a lasting impression with BNS Signs. Visit bnssigns.com, because when it comes to signs, they do it all. It's also brought to you by St. Augustine Handy House. Need a customer prefab portable building that's built to last? Come to St. Augustine Handy House, proudly owned by Troy Usina Enterprises and serving the community since 1988. With over 70 structures in stock, from sheds and barns to carports and offices, you'll find the perfect fit for your needs. Every building comes with free delivery, leveling, and anchoring, plus easy financing options to fit your budget. Visit them on State Road 16, open Monday through Saturday, or call 904-823-9092. St. Augustine Handy House, where quality meets convenience. All right, Troy, give us the report.
All right. Blake, if you would, while I'm going through this, can you pull up our carousel picture that we took yesterday with the group from the 904? Mm-hmm. All right. So some of the games, a game that I absolutely loved as a kid. If you haven't played it, it's Spoons.
Yeah,
I was going to talk about that game earlier.
You'll pee your pants laughing at your own. It is hilarious.
Yeah.
Left, right, center also popped in there. Uno, of course, always there. A term that should be used more often. Is Heavens to Betsy.
Heavens to Betsy is
Heavens
fantastic.
to Betsy. And Bobby said it's Giles.
I know.
Not Giles.
I know.
Giles.
Sorry.
Okay. But,
Mike Lewis got in there and slipped out. One last one.
His Air Force, want to make sure he gets it right.
Yes, sir.
Wawa was at 296. Costco was at 269. Julia came in and said that the 206 office is amazing.
Thank you.
Hardly more than 15-minute wait usually down there, so might have to go that way. Because last time it was a little longer. But it was wonderful comments, great interview.
Thank you.
Everyone was very complimentary of your entire office.
Thank you.
There you go. There's our picture. Our recent picture that we took.
Our field trip.
Yes.
I love that.
If you can figure out who's who. Obviously, we can tell which one's Amanda.
It's a little subtle.
It's subtle. It's subtle. So,
we had
too
fun
funny. No,
yesterday. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah, Rebecca put all those together. We were talking about giving ourselves minion names, and we were able to create the minions ourselves.
That's a lot of fun.
So,
we have a Stoidum stat today.
Stoidum stat, 1942. This is the battle that probably kept us from speaking Japanese right now.
Yeah.
The Battle of Midway.
Okay.
The Battle of Midway started And it's one of those situations. I mean, we're getting our butts kicked over in the Pacific for quite a bit for the year and a half that it took place until this battle. And this is when the U.S. kind of turned the corner on it. And we were able to trick the Japanese to thinking we were going someplace else. And we got them at Midway. Japanese lost 4 carriers, a cruiser, 292 aircraft in the same, and they lost over 2,500. There was 2,500 Japanese casualties. The U.S. in that battle, we lost the Yorktown, which was a big loss. The story of Yorktown and how they had to abandon it, it's another story all in itself. We lost 300 soldiers or Navymen, sailors. We lost the destroyer and 145 aircraft.
Wow.
So it was an overwhelming victory for the U.S., and it was our first big victory in the Pacific. So it kind of changed the entire momentum of, because it devastated the Japanese Navy at that point, which was considered the strongest in the entire world. And because we were able to catch them off guard, and they didn't realize how much forces we had already turned around in Pearl Harbor, because we were able to save some of those and get them out there, and so it was a huge victory for the U.S. So for all those Navy vets out there, you can be proud of Midway. And the new movie with Woody Harrelson, the Midway movie with Woody Harrelson, is really good. Okay. The original Midway. There's some actual live footage in it that's really impressive. And in the new movie, they talk about this guy who's filming for that too. And it's really, really done well.
All right. So have a drink for all those that fought in the Battle of Midway today.
Yep.
That's Stordom Stat, brought to you by St. Augie's Pizza in downtown St. Augustine, right at the corner of Riberia and MLK. Get yourself a slice today. We have plugs today, Troy.
Plugs, we got Bollocks tonight. And me and Lenny are going to be going at it like we always do at 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. Do you have plugs, Blake?
No plugs.
No plugs. All right. Don't forget to like us, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, subscribe to YouTube, and Rumble. Bollocks tonight. Bye.
Bye-bye.